Hello, scholars. My name is Ashley Tolbert from CCC. I'm a biomedical physics major. I'd like to research the effects of modern contraception devices and how they impact a woman's reproductive health, because I myself have suffered the long-term negative effects of birth control. The modern birth control devices I'd like to research are the NuvaRing, the Mirena IUD, the copper IUD, and Amplanon. In my research, I would attempt to identify abnormalities that cause negative side effects such as infertility, polycystic ovary symptoms, irregular ovulation, anxiety, depression, obesity, and cervical cancer. Ultimately, the goal of my research would be to develop safer contraception. It's every woman's right to choose to postpone pregnancy, and she should be able to do so without the threat of potential side effects. Thank you.
And then hold your applause. I know.
Go right into it. All right. Ready? My name is Crystal Romero. I'm a Build Exito scholar from Chemeketa Community College. My research interests lie primarily within behavioral neuroscience, epidemiology, and social psychology. Many of the Build Exito scholars came from a background filled with adversity, from a community where their peers and loved ones may or may not have been offered the same opportunities that we have been. But when they were offered the opportunity, maybe this guy didn't take it, this guy didn't take it, but this guy over here did take the opportunity. Through my research, I would like to identify specific barriers to success and a potential resiliency factor. I want to identify the different social or neurological factors that may impact decision making and how those differ from everyone sitting in this room right now. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'm nervous. So everyone that's not with us today, I want to try and replicate that resiliency factor, whatever it may be, that we all have, so that we can increase the diversity within the scientific community.
Hi, my name is Tamaya Woods, and I'm a student at the University of Alaska Anchorage studying geomatics engineering. According to the Alaska Department of Health and Social Services Division of Public Health, 1 in 3 U.S. adults have prediabetes. 9 out of 10 adults don't even know they have prediabetes, and over 68,500 people in Alaska have diabetes. I'm interested in studying type 2 diabetes, which is a chronic disease that is identified by high blood sugar levels and lack of insulin. Type 2 diabetes is preventable by exercising regularly and maintaining a healthy diet. After looking at the geographical areas in which have the highest percentage for diabetes, I'd like to discover what the main trigger is that prevents Alaskans from exercising regularly. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ayaka Ikawa, and I'm a student at University of Alaska Anchorage, majoring in biological sciences, and I am interested in researching neurological diseases and how it affects the movement of the body as we age. There are currently hundreds of identified neurological diseases that could affect all ages, but has been more prevalent in the elderly. Growing up, I watched my grandparents struggle with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease. While they were more mobile in their youth, their respective diseases decrease their quality of life by affecting their mobility. The severity of these diseases varies from patient to patient. Some could be more wheelchair-bound, whereas others could walk around a little more. I am inclined to focus my research in geriatrics, and my research question would be to figure out on how we can develop specific exercises to meet the patient's needs.
My name is Megan Lopez. I'm a student at Clackamas Community College. My topic is serving the underserved and helping people feel connected. In September of 2013, I lost my father to suicide. He didn't feel connected to others, and I didn't know that. I then became severely depressed, anxious, and unable to be effective in my job or in my home. I decided to go back to school, and I also decided that the cost, my age, and the opinions of others weren't going to stop me. So here I stand. My interests lie in many directions, from immigration to mental illness to drug and alcohol addiction and treatment. However, Earlier this week, it was suggested that I narrow these down to one. Good luck. Thankfully, my head is screwed on. One of the things I feel passionately about is how people stay connected with one another. My interests in research lie in the people who immigrate to the U.S., how they integrate to life here, and how they stay connected to their cultures.
Hi, I'm Amberly Malawanda. I'm from Clark College in Vancouver, Washington. The major field I want to study in is microbiology, specifically in antibiotic resistance. So the major health issue that is occurring in the world is the resistance that pathogens are building to these antibiotic cures. And so why does it matter? Like, so what? Well, like, why doesn't it matter? Like, it's our goal to help others. I feel like my sole purpose in life is to contribute to humanity with the talents and the gifts that we obtain. And through a microbiological connection, this is what I really want to do, is just to give awareness that I'm here, like give them confidence that I'm here to help them.
Hello, my name is Nick Glover. I'm a PSU undergrad student in biochemistry with a pre-med professional. My end goal right now is going into surgery, but I haven't picked a profession. But I'm a part of the Build Exito program right now, and it drew me to the program because of the want to research inequalities and disparities in the health industry. And that's anything from 46% of transgender individuals have attempted suicide in their life, to the fact that the majority of homeless individuals are youth. And if we can find those communities and integrate a comprehensive and individualized approach to these individuals, we can revolutionize the health industry to really help our societies and our communities effectively.
Hi, my name is Megan Feely. I'm a biochemist here at Portland State. I'm a Build Exito scholar, and I'm an asthmatic. As an asthmatic, I know what it feels like to personally not be able to breathe, and so that's why I'm interested in smoking. When someone smokes, they release harmful chemicals into the air, which then hurt the health of everyone around them. It's unreasonable to completely pose a ban on smoking because it's such a huge industry, it provides so many jobs, and smoking is a disease that needs to be treated like one. So what I would like to do is I would like to look into medical treatment for smokers. I would like to look at how that treatment affects the smoker who takes the treatment, how that treatment affects the environment, and is that treatment effective in the long run so that we all may have fresh air. Thank you.
So hi, my name is Sarah Florig. I'm a student here at Portland State University. My experience as a molecular and microbiologist and a cancer survivor has allowed me to understand the mechanisms behind cancer and its prevalence. Thus, my research focuses on the cellular functions that, on a molecular level, lead to this disease. I want to research how DNA replication machinery can accurately duplicate the chromosomal material when some or all of the genetic materials are missing. Whether in bacterial or human cells, these are fundamental rules which operate for genetic stability. Understanding the process is important because inaccurate DNA replication caused by DNA damage is believed to produce the most genomic rearrangements and mutations that can ultimately lead to cancer. I work to identify how the cell is able to repair and duplicate damaged DNA without errors, such that these mutagenic consequences can be avoided. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Madison. I'm a sophomore here at PSU, and I'm double majoring in biomedical physics and organismal biology. As an aspiring physician, particularly interested in radiation oncology, I'm interested in the markedly rapid progression of pancreatic cancer in its later stages. It's particularly deadly because pancreatic cancer doesn't show any symptoms until 10 to 20 years after the cancer has established itself in the body. There's a lot of research being done on cancer biology right now with how to diagnose earlier, but my worry is we won't be able to diagnose it soon enough. So is there a plan B? My plan B is the utilization of radiation therapy to slow or stop the rapid metastasis in pancreatic cancer and reduce the massive effects and death toll of this disease on the human population.
Hello, my name is Miranda Corona. I'm a student here at PSU and I'm a biology major. I'm intrigued by a large variety of sciences, but my current interest is neuroscience and the patterns of one's behavior. Each individual has a unique process of decision making, and what this is can be a key component when approaching behavioral-based medical issues. Though there is a significant amount of research that has studied the concept of nature versus nurture as a whole, it is necessary to analyze if this knowledge is an effective basis for addressing different issues. If there is a notable trend in the data, for example, if one has more tendency to be irritable due to a specific genetic trait or a common experience in one's life, a more personalized program can be established for those who are recovering addicts. This could cater to their decision-making process so that the likelihood of relapsing is lowered. Currently, the amount of people in the United States who relapse after rehab varies from 50 to 60%, and if this percentage can be lowered, the lives of millions can be changed forever. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jewel Towns, and I'm a current sophomore here at Portland State with a primary focus in biochemistry. And as many of us know, there is a lack of representation within the health services and medical field. And so as a result of my being accepted into the Build Exito program, I kind of decided that I would make a conscious effort toward changing that and aiding in the diversification of people in STEM fields. And so as a means of trying to mend and remedy this issue of underrepresentation, I've chosen to continue my journey of being directly involved in biological research. And I'm specifically interested in applied and in vitro research in clinical oncology. So to build on that, I'm also interested in working on the development of pre-existing medical issues, especially in people of color. And so my hope is that in pursuing my dream of becoming a doctor and one day a researcher, that I kind of inspire people like myself who have once been told no in a world that's constantly trying to bring us down.
Start here.
No, you got it.
It'll happen eventually.
Hi, aloha, hola, talofa, ali, kumusta ka, anuswet, salum, rananim, namaste, nihao, anyo, and hafaday. My name is Jesse de Leon Guerrero. I'm from the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas Islands. I reside in the island of Saipan. Did you know that 44% of families in the Sinamai are below the federal poverty level? And this resulting to unhealthy lifestyle choices and highly dependent on processed foods, resulting to obesity. Based on a recent study, only 40% of children in the Sinamai, ages 2 to 8, are meeting the recommended number of vegetable servings. Therefore, my research study will focus on traditional gardening and tropical agriculture that will promote healthy indigenous foods, and this will increase and sustain the level of vegetable consumption in children and food security for the Sinamai. Thank you, and Suzu's Masi.
Hafaday, my name is Chelsea Fama, representing UOG. My research is on substance abuse for the island of Guam. Ongoing research has proven that there is a direct relationship between substance abuse and high rates of suicide for youth in our small island community. During the last decade, youth suicide rates on Guam exceeded US rates by about 400%. On Guam, suicide is a major health concern. It is the 5th leading cause of death overall and the leading cause for youth. Substance abuse leads to physical and mental illness, the dependence factor correlating with depression, anxiety, and stress. Social psychology is the study of social determinants in relation to psychological well-being of individuals. How and why has substance abuse become the socio-cultural coping mechanism for young adults in Guam? Investigating the relationship between substance abuse and suicide will contribute more public awareness about changing youth behavior, public policy, and lastly, develop youth intervention programs. Thank you.
Hafa day. My name is Victoria Flisco. I am a biology major at the University of Guam. My topic involves the anti-cancer and therapeutic potentials of sea cucumbers. In Guam, cancer is the 2nd leading cause of death, in which 1 in every 5 people die from it, and it remains a major health challenge. Recent studies have identified that species of sea cucumbers contain extracts that may be used to treat pancreatic, lung, and breast or colon cancer. Currently, there are 65 sea cucumber species in Guam alone, including the identification of 19 new species. With Guam being biodiverse, there is a possibility of rare sea cucumber species that have not been studied, containing bioactive compounds such as chondroitin sulfates, to be utilized as resources to treat different cancers. By studying the biochemical makeup of the sea cucumber, we can assess the anti-cancer and cancer therapy potential of the new sea cucumber species. This research would be aimed at developing strategies to enhance prevention and treatment services for our island community. Tidos Masi.
We're going to pause for just 1 second. If you have any wiggles, you can get them out for a second. Get the wiggles out.
Hafaday. My name is Maria Dizon and I represent the island of Saipan. Saipan, despite being very small, ranks highly as number 3 in the world in non-communicable diseases such as cancer and diabetes. Deaths related to these diseases continue to soar in the underrepresented Pacific Islander demographic. Despite the growing problem, there is not much data about the contributing lifestyle factors to these non-communicable diseases. My research will focus on identifying the specific lifestyle factors that cause these non-communicable diseases for Pacific Islanders, taking into account their different socioeconomic conditions and their unique cultural nuances, all while improving their overall health. Thank you.
Hi, guys. Ciao. My name is Paulina Rapeza. I am currently at Chemeketa Community College. I'm studying to become a behavioral neuroscientist, and suddenly I'm forgetting everything that I'm supposed to be saying. So what I want to study is the mental process and, how people make decisions, especially in people who are schizophrenic, people who have depression, or people who have who abuse alcohol and drugs. I really want to understand what triggers these diseases and what makes people work the way they work. I want to understand, why do people react in negative ways? Why do they outlash on their family members, people that they love? And so I really want to, figure out why they do that, and and my hope is to find coping mechanisms to prevent that and find positive outcomes. Thanks.
Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. My name is Rosal Havana and I'm from the Northern Marianas College. Today I wanted to talk about betel nut. Betel nut, that's also called an areca nut, is often chewed with tobacco and lime. With this two highly addictive substance, it can lead to disease such as oral cancer. In fact, research has shown that oral cancer is 3 to 4 times higher in the Marianas compared to Asia. So in conclusion, I'd like to research the correlation between betel nut and oral cancer to see if using this addictive substance increase the chances of getting this disease. Si Zeus Maasi.
Where should I look? I'll back up. Okay, thanks. Oh, okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Bumate, and I'm a biology major at PSU with an interest in pediatrics and oncology. Research I'm interested in is on the radioactive gas radon and the connections it has with epigenetics. Radon inhalants is the second leading cause of lung cancer in the US. Everyone inhales it at different levels, and it is prominent in many homes due to their location, for the gas occurs due to the natural decay of elements in the rocks and soil. There has been recent study on epigenetics where what is consumed or inhaled causes genes to actually turn on or off, which explains why certain traits are passed down. Because radon is inhaled, there are more than 10% of radon-related cancer deaths among non-smokers. If we are all able to combat the amount of radon inhaled, we can prevent higher risks of cancer and pass down healthier genes to the upcoming generations. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Deja Brooks, and I'm a sophomore biochemistry major here at Portland State. I'm a newly selected Exeter Scholar, which really excites me because I love research. My passion has always been science and helping people. And there's no better way for me to combine them than use my love of research to help fight cancer. The problem with cancer is that it replicates quickly. I want to find the catalyst that stops cancer from replicating and allows the body to fight back. Cancer has claimed millions of lives for way too long. It's finally time to stop it in its tracks, and I want to be a part of the team that does. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Elise Kerr, and I'm a biochemistry major at Portland State University, and I also have a Bachelor of Science in Communication and Spanish from the University of Portland. Am I supposed to turn around? But you're all over here. Who cares if they record the back of my head? So I have a degree in Bachelor of Science in Communication and Spanish from the University of Portland. In the 5 years since I graduated from that program, I've had some really transformative experiences with mental health. I noticed the way that my friends and family changed because of their experience of mental illness, and how my own personality was altered, personality and behavior was altered with the onset of anxiety disorder and clinical depression. So I had a lot of questions, and when I sought answers, I was really struck by the gaps that still exist in the research, and it really limits the treatment options for people who are suffering from mental illness. And so my research focus is on the intersection of biological processes and the subjective experience, and sort of bridging that gap between biology and that's it.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sarah Harajan. I am currently a bio major here at PSU. I'm particularly interested in the research of more sustainable nutrition because while there's a lot known about the field, there's still so much to be discovered and still a lot to be learned about dietary needs and nutrition. So there's an alarming rate of obesity, heart disease, diabetes, and a spike in chronic illness in our nation and in the upcoming generation. The new generation is growing up in environments that allows for poor dietary lifestyles, and as somebody who suffered from childhood obesity themselves, I know how it's like to be a victim of the environment. I want to research sustainability and nutrition in hopes that my findings can be implemented into the American culture that would help make change and slow down the epidemic. We need to improve this for the sake of our healthcare costs, and especially in the rise in chronic illness in the new generation.
Hello, I am Zaira Carranza. I am a PSU student majoring in biology. Drug resistance is a major global crisis. We are dwelling millions of lives. My research interest is in developing new antibiotics to diminish resistant bacteria. What has happened is that not only is it affecting the individual, but it affects the people around them. I have relatives who are infected with viruses and are still not cured with any antibiotic or medication. Until this day, they are still infected, and I want to know, why is this? Why is there not still a cure? I want to study how the body reacts to certain bacteria and how it can be prevented from mutating and becoming resistant. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Shally Wolf. I'm a PSU scholar. When a baby is born perfectly healthy, it's wonderful. But what about the fear of when a child is born with a heart defect? I have personally lost a close relative to a congenital heart defect, also known as ventriculoceptal defect, which means a hole in the heart. Ongoing research shows that such diseases are rare in Africa, and this is based on the cases that are currently reported, and not thinking about the fact that people cannot afford health care and have the lack of resources in order to report other cases. My aim is to obtain more information on this disease and then hopefully come up with a better method and a cost-effective method that we can use in low-income communities and people that cannot afford health care to detect these diseases earlier.
Hello, my name is Nivoni Gatt from the University of Alaska Anchorage. I am studying health sciences. So I'm interested in refugees and food insecurity. And in Alaska, there's a large refugee population, and they come from many different cultures and cultural backgrounds. And many of the programs that are set in place now to help them settle in and become independent, like SNAP, are very limited in providing the foods that are familiar to them. And they seem to do more harm than good long term. So my question is, how can we take an already set program and make it more culturally fitting for families? This is important because health can be defined in many different ways. So it's important not to only provide access, but also look at other factors like refugee psychosocial health, and begin to understand and incorporate all definitions of well-being as much as possible.
Hello everyone, my name is Caitlin Saft and I'm a student of University of Alaska Anchorage and I am studying psychology. I am passionate about researching child sexual abuse and the development of post-traumatic stress disorder among those children. Specifically, I'm interested in studying the cultural contexts that affect how those populations seek and receive mental health treatment. There are many barriers that minority groups face when seeking treatment, such as financial, language, cultural stereotype, and most importantly, a lack of sufficient mental health care in that area, specifically in rural Alaska for me. This is so important because PTSD in children has a drastic effect on brain development, education, and the socioeconomic stratas that they enter into as adults. My research, I really want to make the best care available to everyone. So, thank you.
Hello, my name is Omar Johnson, and I'm currently a student at Portland State University majoring in biology. Since my interest is in biology, it kind of shocks me that the diagnosis of mental disorders is so subjective. And I know personally that nearly everyone that I know is afflicted by some form of this type of disorder. And personally, I have recognized the impacts of weight on our mental health, and so my primary interest is in this relationship between weight in the human diet and our mental health. The fact that our bodies are so complex and the interconnectedness and the fact that there is so much evidence for a link between these two really does amaze me, and that's why I'd really like to take part in some research in this subject.
My name is Diana Demchenko. I am currently a biology major at PSU, and even though I have a high interest in biological concepts, I also have an interest in sociology, specifically aging, and this is because as a society we want to be as functional as possible all the time, so that's why we have things like a retirement age, and we sort of expect an older adult to isolate themselves and separate themselves from the rest of society as they grow older, and with this isolation, a person loses social support and therefore raises the risk of depression. And coming from a family where my mother had depression as she grew older, it not only affects her but all her relatives as well. And our older population is very large right now, and with 20 of them depressed, if we reach this point where we're facing this dilemma ourselves at 80, we have to know what to do if we didn't do study in the past.
Okay. Hello, my name is Jose Perez Quinchuela. I go to Chemekara, and I'd like to study psychology. Okay. I like to find out more about mental disorders than it is already known, and new effective ways to treat them, and how to better the drug system and why they developed and all of those things. I see myself working with minorities, especially, and as an advocate towards them to, battle stereotypes and all of those things, and study the social stressors that impact them mentally and how that impacts their physical care as well. I've noticed that among many minorities, they do receive physical care, but mental care is something that still needs to be pushed forward. I hope to bring diversity into the physiological field and help out and bring to other groups that have been failed on, like many others.
Okay. Hi, my name is Lindsay Romo, and I'm an undeclared major and a PSU scholar. And I'm really interested in the social sciences, particularly criminal justice. And I really want to look at if two young boys are coming from the same environmental factors that are leading causes in juvenile delinquency, why one may choose to participate in juvenile delinquency and the other may not. And this is a really important subject because there are currently 75 million juveniles in the U.S. and 850,000 here in Oregon, more than 850,000 here in Oregon. And I really want to compare and contrast their mental health and how they cope with the problems that they face in the environment that they were born into. And this is a really important topic to me because children are our future, and we need to rely on them and take care of them. And I really want to work with them and make sure that they're safe.
Hello, my name is Rachel Anthony. I'm with Portland Community College. And my topic of interest is always access, community health, and I've worked in social services for a while, and I see the disparity of who is working in it and who's represented and who's actually trying to survive the system. But I felt like I had no more tools to give, and so I'm going back to school because I think health is really important too, from the inside out, and it's really fascinating. Body systems are very fascinating. So my goal is to go to get maybe MD kind of doctor kind of stuff, but get those tools, whatever tools. I really want to be a paramedic, and then also maybe a doctor, and then maybe PhD, who knows, and give those tools back. So that's my goal. My goal in a maybe non-institutionalized way that my communities have been affected by.
Hi, my name is Manaz Rosai. I'm a pre-med student majoring in microbiology at PSU, and I'm interested in cardiology. Heart disease is sadly very common. Personally, my grandfather passed away from a heart attack, which impacted me and my family directly. According to the CDC, the highest mortality rate in the US is due to heart disease. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, smoking, diabetes, excessive alcohol use, poor diet, and obesity are key factors for heart disease. Not only that, those who have relatives with heart disease are typically more likely to have heart problems in the future. Therefore, I want to research in order to determine a solution to significantly decrease mortality rates. Thank you.
Hi, so it's not more of a problem, but a curiosity question. My name is Noor Jari. I'm a Bill Dixie scholar from Portland State with pre-medicine and health science major. Generally, I have been interested in many topics in science, but for the sake of this pitch, my topic is more of a neuroscience behavior, and that specifically is the déjà vu, which is the phenomenon of having a strong sensation that an event or experience currently being experienced has already been experienced in the past. Personally, I've experienced déjà vu quite often, and most recently was yesterday, which I chose it to be my elevator pitch. And while experiencing this, I came up to really question, why am I experiencing it? What is causing it? And Well, there have been many theories of what is deja vu and what is causing it. There hasn't been a concluding one explanation on deja vu since it's very difficult to experiment it in labs. Okay, my time is up. So.
Hi, my name is Erin McNally, and I'm from Schmecketa Community College. Before Build Exito and I was in the program, I never knew what immunology was. But after studying it and looking it up and looking at what immunology was, I completely fell in love with it. Immunology is a study of your immune system, and the reason that that means a lot to me is because I have a stomach condition that affects my immune system enormously. So I'm more fatigued on a daily basis than a normal person, and I'm more susceptible to get a flu or another disease because my immune system is so weak. And the fact that we have something in our bodies that so directly affects how we get sick, it seems weird to me that that's not more of our focus, and that's what I want to do, because that's an amazing thing that we have in our body. And so to be able to make it stronger and to be able to improve our immune system so we're less likely to get sick is an amazing thing in my mind. So instead of researching a cure for a specific disease, I want to focus my research study more on preventative care. And so I want to do that in hopes for everyone else and everyone else in this world to not have to suffer like I did. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alejandro, and I'm from Chemeketa. And my research interest revolves around the BRAIN Initiative, also referred to as advancing brain research through advancing innovative neurotechnologies. It's a very ambitious research project that is working to develop and improve the tools and techniques needed to comprehensively map the inner workings of the human brain. I'm particularly interested in researching with a method called optogenetics. It's a neuromodulation technique that works by delivering light-sensitive proteins that convert light into electricity to specific networks of neurons in the brain. This allows researchers to shut these interface networks on and off and determine what role they play in behavior, signal processing, and disease. I want to focus my research on brain mapping and system identification, and I strongly feel that the future of this area is going to be at the crossroads where different experts in different fields come together to do collaborative research, and I envision a future where we will finally be able to unlock the mysteries of the human brain.
Hello, my name is Henry Wu. I am enrolled in a dual program between PSU and OHSU for biomedical informatics and computer science. My topic is a pretty general one. It's health and happiness in terms of income. I think if it's a problem because we all know what poverty is, we all know what income inequality is, and what health disparities that comes with it. And one of the biggest issue in terms of that is obesity. In low-income families, obesity seems to be a pretty high rate because no one has time to cook food for their children, nor have time to even be with their children because they have to work to earn money to take care of them. And because of that, they have a higher chance in health disease, heart disease, obesity, just anything that affects their health. And let's see, I'm kind of lost my train of thought, but I think this is important because we have all of this data and research that already has been done on these topics, but yet no one is aware of it.
Okay, half a day everyone, and hello, my name is Tristan Paulino, and I am an undergraduate researcher at the University of Guam studying agriculture and chemistry. Yes, I said agriculture. The consequences of global climate change are happening now and at alarming rates. So my research interest focuses on the effects of rising sea levels on soil salinity, which is basically salt concentration in the ground, and its effect on agricultural production in Micronesia. A rise in soil salinity has decreased the agricultural production of salt-sensitive crops in these low-lying islands. And the fall in agricultural production in these islands has led to food insecurity and a dependence on imported processed foods like Spam and corned beef. And the consumption of these foods has been linked with the prevalence of chronic diseases like hypertension, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. And by addressing these problems in the climatic changes on food production through possible alternative technologies, we can mitigate chronic illnesses and lessen the economic impact in the region.
All right, so my name is Amber Schwartz. I'm a student at PCC, and I'm currently studying psychology with interest in social science and neuroscience. And for my research, I would like to look into ADHD and other mental disorders. And that's because I've been personally diagnosed with ADHD from a young age. And I've also got to experience how symptoms from other disorders like OCD and anxiety also affect the symptoms and treatment of ADHD itself. It's a very big problem. The CDC estimates that 11% of people actually have the disorder, but a majority of people don't know it. And there's also no known cause or cure for it. In my research, I'm also interested in addressing the gender disparity between how women oftentimes go undiagnosed with it just because of the differences between symptom expression between the genders. Overall, I would like to research what causes it and the role that nature and nurture play in the brain. And I would also like to know what other treatments we have for people with ADHD.
Good afternoon. My name is Tila Alward. I am currently at PCC, transferring to PSU with an interest in public health, social epidemiology, and nutrition. If things were simple, I would want to cook for the world and be everyone's mom, but that is not the way things work. Problems cannot be distilled down into one-dimensional, easy-to-fix issues. Things like food insecurity and hunger are due to a multitude of issues because of a history of discriminatory practices and policies. I believe that to be effective, you need to address each community by working within them, addressing their barriers, and assessing how best to support them. I look forward to working alongside an interdisciplinary science-based team as well as community groups to support communities at risk for food insecurity by assessing resources, educating them about nutrition, and most importantly, working with each community to implement and sustain programs that empower them to be partners in their own health in culturally appropriate ways. Thank you.
I'm Heather. I'm a biology major at PSU, and I'm interested in neuropsychology. I want to study the effects of music on brain function restoration after injury, as well as find a way to make cognitive therapy more accessible to all brain-injured victims. And 2 years after deciding on neuropsychology, I sustained a traumatic brain injury when I was hit by a car, and I had to fight for my cognitive therapy in court after being denied numerous times. So due to high costs, proper rehabilitation is denied to the majority of brain-injured victims, and because of this, the victims' cognitive deficits result in lower productivity rates, an inability to keep jobs, a loss of independence, and leaves them at a higher risk for subsequent psychiatric disorders, substance abuse, homelessness, and PTSD, and I want to change that.
Hi everyone, my name is Kara Gallimore. I am a behavioral neuroscience major currently attending Portland Community College. Behavioral neuroscience is very close to my heart. Much of my family, both close and extended, has a history of mental health disorders from schizophrenia to major depressive disorder to addiction. And it's been hard for me to watch those I love most suffer, both from the illness and from the stigma attached to the mental illness. I myself have battled both an eating disorder and depression, and through my own healing process came to realize that there is a substantial gap. I noticed you said the same thing, between what is known and what is practiced in psychotherapy field and what is known and practiced in the neuroscience field. I want to go into research to help to bridge that gap, and I want to understand and to contribute to the understanding of how the brain works, especially when something goes askew and causes suffering. And essentially, I want to go into research to help to end that suffering.
Hey everyone, my name is Mustafa. I'm a PCC scholar, co-enrolling with PSU at the moment, and I am a health science, particularly community public health major, possible major in biology, and I really wanted to, I'm majoring in there to understand how scientific disease, how some diseases affect community on a larger scale, so both biological and social aspects of it, and particularly I wanted to possibly research sickle cell anemia, just because I feel like it's something I could represent, and the people who are predominantly falling victim to such a condition are in the African community, because it's a disease that can be possibly spread from malaria and all that kind of stuff. It's a abnormal hemoglobin gene that causes it, and it's important, I think, because a lot of the people who predominantly fall victim to this disease are people who kind of have they really don't have much resources at their disposal. So just not also finding, yeah, my time's up, but yeah.
Hello, my name is Nathan, and I'm a student at WCC in Hawaii, and my topic is on ADHD. ADHD commonly coexists with other mental and physical disorders, like bipolar and depression. One review of ADHD in adults demonstrated that 42% had one other major psychiatric disorder. Speaking from a personal level, I was diagnosed with ADHD, bipolar, and depression. For over 10 years, I've been prescribed medications that were supposed to help me function in today's society. But it was the total opposite. Being on these medications put me in like a zombie state. Since going off of the medications 3 years ago, I've started school and gotten straight A's. I am also a member of the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society. So I would like to research alternative approaches to diagnosing and treating ADHD and bipolar disorder, perhaps through natural plants and herbs.
Talofa and Maloe Lele. My name is Mona Chang from the University of Hawaii at Manoa, and I'm concerned with the large number of diabetic people in American Samoa. As a young Samoan whose family members are diabetic, I want to reintroduce the Samoan culture back into our health and our nutrition. Not that many people own lands or go fishing, since they prefer to buy from the store or from the fast food restaurants. After I left home, the number of diabetic people increased sharply to the point where the dialysis unit had to shut down due to overuse. We need to go back to the past to be healthy in the future. Favitai tele lava and ofalahiato.
Aloha, my name is Carmen Santiago. No, I'm not named after the video game. I attend UH West Oahu. I'm now in a new nursing pathway program. I've worked at the Hawaii State Hospital for 11 years. As I mentioned earlier, I got tired of watching patients prematurely be released from because of overcrowding, and then they had temporary success being drugged with different psychotropic drugs, and then returning soon after to the hospital once again, unstable, offending again, even committing further crimes toward the community. My goal into this research is to look into different plans or transitions, alternative treatments and drugs that offer more permanent stability and follow long-term effects. This could possibly treat a patient more efficiently and integrate them into the community. Planning to keep them stable is the key to keeping the community safe permanently. This will cause fulfillment in my job, my nursing pathway, and follow me when I finally get my nursing degree.
Hi, my name is Ramalin Badua, and I am from Hawaii, majoring in social work. Being born and raised in Hawaii, I've known a lot of social issues, and the main one that sticks to me the most is the foster care system. It is broken, it is not fair, it simply sucks. Kids are moved from place to place, separated from their siblings, and even experience abuse. I believe the foster care system easily affects them emotionally, socially, and psychologically, causing them to lose trust in others. There has to be a better way to help place kids in a more lovable environment and not toss them around like they're nothing. As an aspiring social worker, I hope I'll be able to make a positive impact on kids' lives by providing comprehensive resources to help protect children, strengthen families, and empower individuals to discover their worth.
Aloha, my name is Melissa and I'm from Hawaii. The term vai in Hawaiian means fresh water, and interestingly enough, it means wealth as well. The people of Hawaii understood that without water, there was nothing. Health in Hawaiian terms refers to one who is in harmony both physically, mentally, and spiritually. They were not separate. each affected the condition of the other. There are community programs in Hawaii today that put the focus back into community coming together and creating a food system utilizing the land, water, and ocean, similar to our ancestors. Transformations have occurred with individuals who take part in these programs. They become physically healthier from eating cleaner, but they also become healthier spiritually and mentally by their reconnection with people, community, and environment. Land development and pollution jeopardizes programs that support sustainable living, culture, and a way of life. Our food, water, and medicine, and so much more stems from our environment. The survival of humanity is dependent on our environment. That is why I'm putting my focus onto land and natural resources.
Hey. Hi, I'm Kelia. I am from Hawaii, and I am double majoring in psychology and Hawaiian studies. My interest is more towards traditional native healing and how its relationship with biomedical science. As we all know from Keawe's speech and other pitches that you will hear, Hawaii, Native Hawaiians in particular are going through a lot of health disparities. And as my passion for Hawaiian people, I'm trying to think, like, why are we still going through these things? And with families and kupuna or elders, they don't understand those long science medications, and they don't understand the procedures that Western medicine provides for us. And I think with traditional native healing, Native people will receive Native things. And I think it will help to preserve not only our people and our Native community, but also our culture. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Amanda Johnson. I'm from PCC, and I feel incredibly honored and humbled to be here with you all today. I'm interested in brain processes and more specifically memory systems. There's a quote from George Orwell that I would like to share with you guys today. Does the past exist concretely in space? Is there somewhere or other a place, a world of solid objects where the past is still happening? Now, from what we know, the answer to this question is no. However, there is a group of people for whom this is very real every day, PTSD sufferers. I want to study how memories are encoded and integrated both under traumatic and non-traumatic conditions, and one possible implication of this research in the future could be the ability to maybe induce integration of these traumatic memories to help ease the flashback symptoms of sufferers of PTSD. Thanks, guys.
Yo. I've just always wanted to do that. I'm Mark Sanchez. I'm from Portland Community College. I have years of working experience in science, engineering, and surveying fields, and I noticed there's a disparity for sharing data amongst researchers and scientists and engineers. So I decided I wanted to try to find a way to change kind of how they go about sharing data, but continue my analysis skills. And so I dove into computer science to gain programming skills and, God, this thing's killing me, to get a graduate degree in bioinformatics. My goal is ultimately to start my own company, to get plugged into labs all around the world, to help justify scientist research in the lab for many, many fields. I'd like to eventually form a team and connect research and scientists all over the world so that they can cross-pollinate ideas. And then finally, just to add on, I'm now more driven to actually continue this so that I can continue the MB fostered by Tori towards computer scientists.
Hi guys, my name is Tony. I'm a biology major here at PSU, and I'm currently working on a genetic editing technique that will allow grade 4 glioblastoma multiform brain tumors who penetrate the brain tissue to disengage so that surgeons can resect the tumor 100%. Now, although there's no cure for GBM, which is a very, very aggressive tumor, malignant tumor, and even though the tumor can grow back, our research is very important because it will not only prolong a patient's life, but it will allow us to be able to go to very sensitive parts of the brain without causing negative impairments. So, and also our research will make it a priority to make this technique available and sustainable to third world countries where funds and research is limited.
Hi everyone, my name is Joanna Armida and I'm a PSU transfer majoring in chemistry. According to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, a person in the US is diagnosed with blood cancer every 3 minutes. And a person and someone else dies from these diseases every 9 minutes. With this, I want to research about the different environmental, like being in a first world country versus being in a third world country, and hereditary factors influencing the growth of these diseases, and with deeper knowledge and understanding help to further reduce the chances of these diseases from developing and prevent blood cancer from occurring in the population.
Hi, my name is Sebastian Malave, and I'm majoring in microbiology in Hawaii. Hawaii has many ethnic health disparities, especially with the Native Hawaiian population. Studies show that Native Hawaiians have twice the risk of diabetes compared to the white population, which can contribute to cardiovascular disease. A research study showed that the City Council of Hawaii was able to increase the amount of bike lane ridership by 88% by implementing a protected bike lane in Honolulu last year. Based on this, I would like to see how effective the new bike lanes are in reducing the risk of diabetes by increasing physical activity. Currently, the amount of available bike lanes in Waianae is very scarce, and this area happens to hold the majority of the Native Hawaiian population. My end goal is to create an efficient, active community in the Waianae area to increase physical activity, which in turn will lead to lower diabetes rates.
I'm Vitalina Vakulchik. I'm a dual credit student at Clackamas Community College, and I'm interested in cancer treatment, specifically chemotherapy. My predominant concern is, why is chemotherapy an option for those who are critically ill when they already have weakened immune systems? The problem with chemotherapy is that it can't distinguish the normal growing cells from the cancerous cells, so it destroys all rapid growing cells, whether targeted or not. In fact, 40% of men and women will encounter cancer at some point in their life, and that's almost half of you here. I believe that if we propose an alternative where we target only the cancer cells precisely without harming the normal growing cells, then we can increase the survival rate by a great amount. Therefore, I would argue that there are currently far more risks than benefits associated with this type of cancer plan. After all, shouldn't cancer treatments kill cancer without killing you?
Good. All right. Hi, my name is Jordan Hauk, and I go to the University of Alaska, and I am mostly researching the microbiome. So a very interesting thing about the microbiome is that in the research they've done, one of the studies took two mice. One of them was obese and one of them was thin. So they took the microbiome from the thin one and they put it in the obese mouse, and vice versa. What happened was that the obese mouse got thin and the thin mouse got fat. So essentially what happened in that situation was they figured that the microbiome actually affects the weight and health of different individuals very certainly in different ways. Another big thing about this is that in a lot of third world countries, there's actually more diversity in the bacteria than there is in first world countries because of the foods they eat and how processed they are comparatively. So basically, the research that I'm planning on doing is to figure out what healthy microbiomes are and what unhealthy microbiomes are and the differences comparatively. Thank you.
Felina mai me ke aloha. My name is Elda'i Aikau Osterman, and I go to the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Native Hawaiians have been proven to be at higher risk of many illnesses such as diabetes, high cholesterol, and obesity. These health issues have been developed extensively for many reasons, including economic and social factors. Fast food is cheap, fast, and living in Hawaii is crazy expensive. People have no time between working jobs to make a living and caring for their families. Watching these diseases dramatically affect both sides of my ohana, my family, has given me a burning desire to help my people. As a small start in accomplishing my goal, I am currently a varsity cheerleading coach mentoring young Hawaiian women. I hope through psychology I can continue to integrate healthy habits into the lives of my people. I'm tired of Hawaiians believing that they cannot improve, and I hope to find many ways that are accessible to anyone who wants to improve their own lives as well as their families. Mahalo.
Hello, my name is Kiana Sinanj, and I too attend the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Because of the combination of social media and distorted values that exist today in our society, people have lost their aloha, or their love. The biggest problem that I believe that exists is a loss of respect, especially self-respect. I know that I struggled immensely in discovering who I was and who I wanted to be, and for me this meant making lots of mistakes. And by a friend I learned here, these things were immensely bad, good things. Without these things, I would not be the person I am today. And I believe that the negative perspective that America has that separates people and looks down upon them for every reason, from gender to color to age, sexuality, etc., has given America an unaccepting view of individuality and brought about the ever-growing gap that Calvia spoke about on Tuesday. I hope through clinical psychological studies related to self-discovery, we can reduce every problem that exists in society today. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rochelle Griffiths. I'm a student at the University of Alaska Anchorage. I am studying biological sciences. I am interested in learning why there is such a high rate of cancer in the Alaska Native population. Cancer runs in my family, as well as diabetes and other diseases such as heart failure. And there is a lack of knowledge in this area of study. I would like to research how different types of Alaska plant-based foods can prevent and decrease the presence of cancer in the Alaska Native population. There is a traditional plant used by Alaska Natives in my region named Chaithluk. What they do is make a tea and drink it, and through anecdotal evidence, it has been found that when consumed, it has eliminated the presence of cancer. There has been a small amount of research and documentation in this area as well. My goal is to change that. I also believe
Hi, my name is Christine Richter, and I'm a health sciences student at the University of Alaska Anchorage. And the topic that I'm interested in researching is telemedicine. I just became an EMT in Alaska, and one of the things we learned is that patients who obtain treatment at a hospital within 1 hour of making the emergency call have a much better chance of survival than patients who don't. But this is a big problem in Alaska because all of our hospitals are located in our 3 cities. This means that our patients in rural villages are at a huge disadvantage. One way they're trying to solve this problem is through telemedicine, which is basically where a doctor in the city video chats with the healthcare providers in the villages and tells them what they would do to treat that patient if that patient were in the city. I'm interested in seeing the survival outcomes of patients who are treated by telemedicine and patients who are treated in person, and seeing if it's just as effective.
Hi, my name is Megan Ackerman. I'm a math major at the University of Alaska Anchorage, and I'm interested in gender equality. More specifically, for professional women in education systems, universities, colleges, the like. Specifically, there's been a few studies done on contra power harassment, and these studies show that for women, they experience a higher rate or a higher percentage of this basically power play than their male counterparts, especially from their male students. I think this is a really big issue because in STEM fields where women are already underrepresented, it's an issue because as we continue to diversify fields, those kind of fields, especially in terms of research, it's important that we understand how this is occurring. So my research question would be, how are these mechanisms allowing for this power play to continue to happen? And I would want to eventually, with the hope that eventually that we could curb that as we do continue to diversify things. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Chanel and I'm a sociology major here at PSU. My research is focused on the social, cultural, and economic factors that affect the successes of minority groups, inner city youth, and crime rates. My main questions are, how can we make the government system more legitimate to these groups, and what do we need to do in order to achieve this so that fewer minorities are imprisoned and more are likely to achieve in their societies? This means that we need to build programs that elevate people in these systems and to find the best ways to localize democracy so that more minority groups become artisans, professors, scientists, and much more. Because it's important to note that even in beautiful cities such as Portland, diversity does not mean equality, and sustainability exists just as well as gentrification. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Victoria Cali and I'm a sophomore at Portland State University. I am majoring in health sciences and also in pre-naturopathic medicine. I believe a huge issue that is arising in today's society is is prescription drug addiction. Both of my parents have suffered from this issue, and it is still a growing issue. Thousands and hundreds and thousands of citizens are being addicted to these prescription drugs while thinking that this is in turn like curing them. My solution to this problem would be joining research teams in order to create new alternatives to medicine. This would involve naturopathic medicine, obviously, as well as using plant-based alternatives to end addiction. Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Salema Rodriguez and I stutter. I am a student here at PSU. I've stuttered ever since I was 6 years old. I attended speech therapy for about 8 years and I recently went back this summer. I was shocked to learn how much, not much had been done in terms of forms of therapy and causes. I'm interested in finding the cause at a physiological level. So far it's believed to be run in families. In my case, both my grandma and my uncle stutter. In forms of treatment, we have not, it has not worked for all of us. I would like to focus on this because I believe by finding the root cause, we will find improved forms of therapy for every unique case of stuttering. Language is the way that we express our emotions and our ideas. Imagine having a broken bridge between your brain and your mouth. A lot of us haven't voiced our opinions because of our impediment. Some people perceive us as unintelligent because of the words. Our words aren't as eloquent as our thoughts are. I want to rebuild that bridge for the millions of stutterers out there.
Hi everyone. My name is Raul and I'm a biology major at PSU with an interest in community health. Imagine that you live in a poor or racially diverse community, and in that community you made many friends of different backgrounds and always rode bikes at the park every day. But imagine in the next few months all of your friends move away and your most memorable places are suddenly replaced with upscale restaurants, coffee shops, and new modern apartments and houses. For some of you, it may be hard to imagine this scenario, but other people like myself, it is an unfortunate reality. This process is known as gentrification, where minority groups are displaced and isolated in even poor communities where housing prices are drastically increasing and the culture is becoming less diverse, with more wealthier families and business owners moving in these poorer communities. However, I believe we can try to re-diversify these communities again and make it a more culturally, ethnically balanced community.
Hello everyone, my name is Laura. I am a student here at Portland State University and I plan on getting a psychology major one day here. My main interest in psychology is the study of relationships, just because all of us here in the room have a form of relationship with another person. More detailed as to why some relationships tend to fail or tend to succeed. My interest drives from the fact that approximately 50% of marriages end in divorce, and any marriage after the first has a higher divorce rate between 60 through 70%. My focus recently has been more on the children of divorced parents. Research has been somewhat limited, usually focusing on the emotional and physical health of these children. My main curiosity is on the mental health of these children and whether their development is greatly affected or not. Since the divorce rate is so high, I want to help people promote better communication in between relationships and healthier and happier individuals.
Hi, I'm Corey Ashoff, and I'm majoring in health studies here at PSU and focusing on epidemiology. The topic of my research is really just an ongoing project that has to do with sexual health and the occurrence of easily preventable STDs and STIs. That happens especially in certain communities. And our sexual health is extremely important to our overall well-being. So I have a couple questions about this topic, mainly what type of sexual education is in place in these populations, if any, and does it have to do with access to health services? So by revisiting existing data and collecting new data from participants from these communities, one or both questions could hopefully be answered. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Rudy. Currently, I am concentrating my studies on nutrition and psychology to pursue graduate work in neurology. I find the mind beautiful as is apparent in the world around us, resulting in artwork like the Mona Lisa, wonders such as the Taj Mahal, and technologies and iPhones. But the mind is a reflection of the brain's health, so we can't forget we're dealing with an organ, needing certain requirements to ensure it's working properly. In short, when your brain isn't functioning like it should be, you're not going to be feeling like you should be.
Hi, my name is Javier Mendoza. I'm an engineering student here at PSU, and I believe that as we grow older, we're going to start gathering more knowledge, and that we're going to be able to inspire others, unless we start losing our memory because of Alzheimer's, or we start losing motion control of our hands because of Parkinson. Now, I believe that these brain diseases could be affecting us right now, and I want to use the concept of reverse engineering so that I can look at how the brain works. Because in my experience, every time I take something apart and I put it back together, I feel like I become one with the object or the device or the system. So I see how it works. I know it better. So I want to use this concept for just functions in the brain, and then look and see what happens with depending on the nutrition, food, stress, love, sex, what happens to our brain. And that way I can see if there's a malfunction in the brain or a stronger connection between brain cells.
So, my name is Danae Closey. I'm from Clark College, and I plan to pursue a major in clinical psychology. Many children and adolescents in the U.S. have an anxiety disorder or depression, and the numbers are constantly rising. Throughout my own life, I have grown up with anxiety, and I've seen not just one, but almost all of my friends and many family members suffer with mental illnesses throughout their lives. Mental illness is a serious issue that is affected by children's school life, home life, and socioeconomic status, among many other aspects. What I want to know is not just why, but how to stop this rise, and what can be done to prevent these numbers from continuing to rise. Mental illnesses are a big issue in the United States right now, and I hope to one day conduct the research needed to cut down the number of children and adolescents suffering from them. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alana Mitchell, and I'm currently attending Clark College.
I would like to be involved in research that has a focus on transgender healthcare and how to create better, more effective treatment for trans individuals, as well as making healthcare easier to access. Many physicians and mental health professionals are unaware of how to go about treating transgender people, both because of a lack of knowledge about our experiences, maybe a bit of discrimination, and also because there is a lack of research going into effective treatments, common illnesses, and really just how to deal with individual transgender identities, because we all have a range of different experiences. This research ultimately benefits the transgender community by providing options and creating better informed physicians, as well as promoting diversity and acceptance to produce a more unified, positive, progressive scientific community that knows that identity is something to be proud of. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Veronica. I'm from Clark College and I'm majoring in psychology. I want to research how mental illness and genetics correlate by looking at whether certain disorders can be inherited from family members. Mental health researchers have discovered that 5 major mental illnesses such as depression, bipolar disorder, ADHD, schizophrenia, and autism are traceable to the same inherited genetic variations. I want to discover how genetics play a more important role in our mental health for professional and personal reasons. Both sides of my family suffer from mental illnesses, and I do as well. I know that it can be debilitating feeling disconnected from who you are. What we should understand is that mental illnesses are very complex because they evolve through genetic and environmental factors acting together. I believe that genetic testing is necessary for collecting important data in order to lessen the misconceptions about mental illness and become more accepting towards the people who suffer from it. Thank you.
Last one, yeah, okay. So my name is Abby Coleman and I go to Clark College and my major is biology and I want to become an MD and a PhD. And pretty much what I want to do is I want to find at least one cure to asthma. And I figured out a long time ago that asthma is linked to genetics. And what I want to find is in newborns and the parents, what is the link from asthma to genetics and figure out a way to deactivate it. Because of that, right now, as we all know, the earth is getting more and more polluted, so why not help someone who has a breathing problem, am I right? So why not help at least one type of person with something they don't even have to have? And that's about it.